Hey everybody, welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. This is episode number 475. Today is the 20th of December, 2023, the last episode before Christmas, and also the only Christmas, I think, where Chris is the only one to have some holiday gear. Both me and Bradley totally screwed that up. So
Yeah.
we're gonna we'll get into that in a minute. A couple of announcements coming up, but first, let's go to Chris. Chris, would you like to share your holiday spirit with everybody? Nope, you're muted.
Yeah, I was out a week snowboarding and got a lovely sunburn yesterday. So I thought the red hat may distract a little bit from.
Nice,
Other than
nice.
that, yeah, I'm pretty good here. Christmas spirit's full force. Yeah, at the same time, still lots of work to be done here, so always busy.
Nice. Well, yeah, man, I guess I'm not in the holiday spirit. All I did was shave my beard and completely forgot to bring Christmas stuff with me. I'm traveling, visiting family and friends, and yeah, just totally spaced it. So, Bradley, how about you? What's your excuse?
Yeah, I don't have much of an excuse either, man. We missed our 9-year anniversary show for
Yeah.
Hump the Hangouts. Like, so we didn't celebrate that at all. And here we are 5 days away from Christmas and we're not celebrating that. What the fuck, man? We must be too busy. So no, I'm traveling as well, and I don't have any of my Christmas gear stuff with me, which I should have, but I'm leaving on Friday to go back to Northern Virginia where everything is, but that won't help us today now, will it? So it is what it is, but we're here nonetheless, and we've only got a few questions today too, so I imagine we'll get through that fairly quickly so we can either chat with our live attendees or just get back to work. So
Sounds
whatever.
good.
Yep.
Well, yeah, just a quick announcement. If you haven't checked it out yet, we got the holiday deals going on. So I'm going to paste the link. It's a little long, but if you're watching or you somehow can't find the link, it's welcome.semanticmastery.com/2023-holiday-sale. And we've got a bunch of great deals going on. A bunch of people already took us up on 50% off the local SEO AI prompt pack, local Fury 50% off the onboarding there, the local PBN building, the training Bradley put together and has most recently updated, got a big deal on that as well. Of course, if you join the mastermind, you get access to all of that stuff for free. It's all included in the mastermind. But if you want to find out more about that stuff, you can go to the link and check it out. Just grab that before January 2nd or 3rd, I believe, at midnight. That's going to be going away. So,
Yeah, and
yep.
just real quick, the local PBN command training has been updated. I updated that earlier this week and added the new training, and it's significantly easier now to find the local domains or domains with local relevance with the local backlink profile. So all the trainings in there on how to do it, but it's much easier now because before when we launched this last or about a year ago, almost a year ago, um, we had to use a different app in order to find the domains. And so, we had to have multiple apps to do the process. Now it can all be done under one app, CTRFI. And so it's efficient. It's a lot easier. It's also much easier now to deploy local sites than it was a year ago when I first created the training, because back then there was the app's been developed further, is what I'm saying, and it just makes it a lot easier to not only find the domains but also deploy the sites. It's significantly easier. So we're actually deploying sites now in about 30 or 40% of the time that it used to take. So think about that. We can deploy 2 to 2.5 sites in the same amount of time that it would take to deploy one previously. So that's why we're building our local blog network to around 25 to 30 blogs per week. We're over 900 blogs now in our local blog network. So it's just, and it works really well, guys. That local blog links or local links with geographic relevance really do help local projects. So I would encourage you to get the training. If you're in the mastermind, you get it for free. So, or it's included anyway. So if you're not, if you're just considering getting the local PBN training, you might want to consider joining the mastermind and getting it there. That way you get access to other things as well, including SOPs and all that.
Nice. Well, the holiday stuff was the real announcements I had. Bradley, thanks for adding in the extra info there. And like you said, we can kind of keep it short today. Just wanted to let everybody know about that. Let's just dive into questions.
All right. Let me grab the screen and I'll get right into it. I'm actually got I'm leaving on Friday to go back to Northern Virginia, and I've got to figure out how to never winterized an RV before, and so
I was about to say you're gonna figure it out real quick.
yeah. Well, I mean, I watched a couple of videos, and I went today. I was able to squeeze out for an hour and go into town and get what I needed. So I have all the stuff. I've just got to do it. So uh, it's going to be interesting. But I've this has been nothing but a learning experience since I started.
Yep.
It's like nonstop. There's always something I got to learn how to do in this stupid RV, but whatever. All right, let's move on. The first question comes from Yasser. He says, I want the website URLs from which you guys give backlinks. Okay. Well, Merry, you can keep wishing for that for Christmas. Maybe Santa will bring you my list of URLs. But no, I don't do that. If you order the links, I will provide you the source URLs of the links once the posts are published, and you're free to check them then. But I don't just publicly give my list of sites away, and nor will I. And I think I've already answered your questions and vetted it as well. So we have minimum thresholds for everything that we do, and our links are always going to meet those thresholds. And if they don't, we replace them for you. But so there's your guarantee. You don't need to see the links beforehand. You can see them once we publish them. Moving on. Sandra says, hey, Bradley, I have a number of service area GBPs which I use for rank and rent. They are verified with addresses for vacant premises. What do you know about the legality of this approach? Should I be concerned? Is there a better approach, or is there a better approach? I'm not an attorney, and honestly, I have no idea what the legal implications are of that. I have never worried about that because I usually get a doing business as for the brands that I'm using for lead gen. So they're fictitious names that are registered to my LLC, right? So my main corporation. That doesn't affect the physical address of fake Google business listings, though. But that at least gives me some validity because I have a fictitious name registered with the state that is attached to my LLC. As far as are there legalities for having Google business profiles that were registered to addresses that are vacant land or that whatever, I have no idea. I honestly can't answer that, but I've never heard of it being a problem. That doesn't mean that it can't present a problem. I'm just saying I've never heard of it. I've never heard of anybody ever experiencing any kind of legal issues for that. So the only thing I've seen happen was when, like in the past, when we used the pin drop method and things like that to register Google business profiles, which is very difficult to do, if not impossible now. Back then, I would recommend to people to, first of all, make sure the address is unpublished, and number two, to not set up citations or business directory listings when you had when you were using somebody else's address that you didn't have permission to use. Because what happens is, and what happened then was, especially with citations, when you start registering a physical address, then that physical address will start to get mail, like U.S. mail, physical mail, sent to that address because of the type, like, because you basically, when you register on business directories, you are adding yourself to mailing lists, both email, so electronic mail, as well as physical mailing lists. And so you'll start getting that address will start receiving solicitation type of mail that's addressed to the business name that you registered to that address, if that makes sense. And so what I've had happen in the past until I learned this, and this is how I learned it, was I had the people that would receive the mail, because it wasn't, with the company name as the addressee, when there wasn't really a company there, they would report it to Google Business they would just report it as a spam listing or a fake listing or whatever. They would report it to Google, period. And it would end up getting suspended. Right. And so that's what I ended up happened to several different Google business profiles. And so I learned many years ago to not publish the street address when you're doing that type of a method, and also not to register with citations or business directory listings where they require a street address, which most of them do. However, now I don't even, the problem is directory listings are kind of a validation signal now for Google business profiles. So I do recommend using citations and business directories. I use Yext power listings. Believe it or not, I really like Yext for helping to kind of validate Google business profiles, but that doesn't answer the question you have about Is there legal issues? I don't know. I just know that I stopped trying to use other types of addresses publicly because again, all the things that I just mentioned, I've lost Google business profiles over that. So, but I don't know if there's any legal issues with it or not. I'm not an attorney. You might want to consult with an attorney if that's something you're worried about. Next question is from James. He says, I have address records for every address in service areas I'm trying to rank for. This is public domain data that includes street, suburb, postcode, latitude, and longitude. I was going to create multiple Google Sheets with the data and then embed those in the location pages of my G site, which link to money site location pages. If this is a good strategy, what is the best pattern or method of linking data within spreadsheet to G site and or money site? I don't know. I've not tested with that, James. It's interesting. It's an interesting theory, but it would need to be tested. And so because I've never done that, I really have no idea. You'd have to just start testing to see. It sounds like it could work. I like that you said that you were going to embed that in the G site, which is especially if you mirror your G site to the same structure as your main website, which is what I've been recommending for years in the Semantic Mastery Mastermind. So we call that content mirroring method, but you would mirror the structure of the main website into the G site. And then you can embed, which we do, embed or link to the money site pages on the G site. But then, because then the G site acts as a container, right? And you can add other things into those mirrored pages that is the same structure of your site. So you can add more relevance, but not on the money site and clutter up the money site with things like embedded G sheets and all of that. That's precisely why the G site is it's such a critical part of what we use for the way that we optimize, because again, you can do so much with the G site to associate data with the brand and the website without you cluttering up the website. So I love that you said that's a really good idea. Doing G sheet stuff within the G site that is embedded alongside the money site pages that would be corresponding. So that's a really good strategy, but I've not tested that specific method, so I really don't have any opinion on it. It seems like a good hypothesis though, so just start testing. As far as the linking, the best pattern, well, first of all, patterns are not good with linking or SEO. On page is fine, but as far as linking to your G site or your money site, again, you just have to test different methods, play with different strategies, things like that, and just track it and see what performs best. Good hypothesis though. Matt says, should the Google Business website social links ID page and GBP be submitted inside of citations? Why or why not? Well, it depends on the directory site, Matt. If it allows you to include social links and all of that, yeah, absolutely you should, because it's creating, again, associations. It's about corroborating brand information or entity information. Does that make sense? So yeah, you definitely should. You want to flesh out directory listings with as much detail as possible. I've absolutely found it is more about quality than it is quantity. That's why I like Yext power listings. And there's other competitors that do very similar things. But I like Yext power listings, not directly through Yext, by the way. That's stupid. I don't know why anybody would pay directly through Yext for that. Go to SEMrush. If you have a SEMrush account, you can get Yext power listings there for $20 per month per location. No contract. It's so much better. I sell them in semantic links. I'm just reselling them from SEMrush for $34 a month. So if any of y'all need Yext power listings for any of your locations, I charge $34 a month. But if you have your own SEMrush subscription, you can get them for $20. Okay. But that's why I like those, because you can go in and fully flesh out the Yext profile, and including all of your social media links, a very well optimized description, a bunch of images, which that in and of itself is very powerful. What you can do with Yext with images is very powerful. I'm not going to reveal that here. I'll talk about it in the mastermind for anybody that wants to know. And if they're curious, by the way, we have a mastermind webinar tomorrow. But you can do a lot of really cool things in Yext in that, because you can fully optimize the profile, flesh it out. So it's a super optimized profile that then syncs or distributes out across 60 to 75 directory listings, depending on whether it's a published street address and also what type of business it is. But if it's a published street address, even contractors and such, it's somewhere around 60, 65 or 70, 65 to 70-ish directory listings that are very well optimized. And I think those are so much more valuable than having hundreds of just very basic unoptimized listings. that makes sense. And so, yeah, you can include a lot of these things. For example, social links. You can't there with Yext power listings. There's an option to add an additional what they call a featured message and a featured message URL, and that is a really cool little hack that gives you an additional link. We typically will link to the Google Business website or the Google Map share URL with that, but you could link to the ID page, for example. So as far as like optimizing other areas of the profile, it doesn't allow you to insert links to most of the other areas of the profile, at least not in Yext, it doesn't. So, but where you can, if you're going out and doing this stuff manually, then in certain cases, you're able to add additional links in places. And yeah, absolutely. And by the way, we are going to be relaunching Syndication Academy, although it's not going to be called Syndication Academy anymore because we're not really focused on syndicating anymore. I just met with our trainer, Essie, that manages that program just yesterday, as a matter of fact. And so she's in the process now of updating it. We're going to be relaunching that. I don't know if it's going to be in January, probably be in February, only because we're going to be launching the DHA program in January. I don't know. Anyway, in the next month or two, we're going to be relaunching Syndication Academy in a simplified version of it that is more about what we're calling a brand expander. And brand expander is all about just really building these branded profiles. Business directory listings can be included in that, by the way, and fully optimizing them and then interlinking them. And so it's not going to be more the syndication. We're still going to include the old training for IFTTT if people want to build syndication networks. That's fine. But that's not what we're focused on at Semantic Mastery now. It's more about expanding the entity footprint, which is what I've been talking about for several years now. And it really that's what I do in my own agency now is we just continually build out branded assets for our clients, and that again includes local or business directory listings, and fully optimize them and interlink them, and then always make sure that we're assisting with discoverability, meaning we're always helping Google to associate those profile URLs on each of those platforms with the brand. And again, we accomplished a lot of that with schema and also the ID page, et cetera, the Google Business website, Google Business Posts, all of the things that I usually talk about. So anyway, hope that was a good question, Matt. I appreciate that. But yeah, absolutely. You want to optimize them as much as possible and interlink as much as possible, including social media links and additional assets, et cetera. Okay. ID page, guys, is really the fourth component of the local entity, in my opinion. I've talked about the holy trinity of the local entity are the three components, right? The three primary components of the local entity: the main website, self-hosted site, which is the organic side. The Google Business Profile is the map side. The Google Business website is a bridge that connects organic to maps. But once the ID page is created and optimized fully, then I kind of treat the ID page as the fourth tier 0 component, if that's clear. Right, because that can really become the entity home. You can do a lot of really powerful things with an ID page when you do it properly. So anyway, okay, guys, that was it for the questions. That was short and sweet, only 18 minutes. Let's go into comments. Toby, no vetted deals for what? For Christmas? Nah, sorry. Remember, guys, I do white label link building services, so our margins aren't that great. I mean, it's good enough. The company is doing well, but
our margins you're not going to see 50% discounts because
yeah, we don't do that because then we'd be working for free. So no thanks. But I appreciate the ask for sure. Merry Christmas, guys. Hey, Craig. David, you guys are wonderful and festive. To everyone here. It's really an honor to know you all. Thanks, David. It's a pleasure knowing you as well. You're one of the good guys. Do you gents own vetted? No, Toby. That's I was just one of the first providers on the because and it's funny because Vasco owns it. But anyway, it was funny because he bugged me for like several weeks to get on the vetted. And finally it was a Saturday. It was in July of last year, and I'll never forget because it was like I just was getting tired of him sending me emails to get or messages to get on vetted. So I just said, fine, I'll get on vetted. Right. And then I ended up spending like 4 hours on a Saturday setting up my first gigs or whatever services and all of that. But I'm glad I did because it's been a nice additional source of revenue, and Vasco's a good dude. So It's been good. There's been ups and downs with, the platform, but itself, but it's been a good additional source of revenue and exposure, really exposure.
Oh, one more quick thing, Bradley. I was just looking over the questions too, and happened to see our subscriber count pop up, and was going to say, I should have said this at the beginning, but if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, if you can, go ahead and subscribe, or if you're watching this later, I saw we're like 20 people off or something from hitting
10,000.
10,000 subscribers. So for us, that would be a really nice Christmas present. So if you guys can help us out,
Yeah.
that'd be kind of cool.
And
Yeah.
a few likes would be cool as well on our YouTube video.
Yeah. And I remember at the beginning of this year, I was like, we're going to break 10,000 this year. And here we are, like days before the end of the year, and we're like 20 away.
Yeah.
So I hope to God we break it before New Year. Okay. Sean Bradley, hey Bradley, I've been keen to hear more about what you're learning and or testing in Google Ads. I get frustrated by it. It seems like a generally terrible user interface. Yeah, Sean, I mean, I'm still testing. I actually hired one of our mastermind members, who's in the UK. Alex is her name, and I actually hired her agency to start managing Google Ads campaigns for me, because I'm having a hard time learning it and doing it properly. So I just said, fuck it, I'll hire an agency that that's what they do, or one of the things that they do. And so that I can have them help me get the campaign set up and running properly. And then I can learn from that, if that makes sense. So, and also I've been testing with running Google Ads more for my local clients than for my own businesses, which, it's funny because I preach to you guys all the time. Work on your business, put your businesses before your clients, right? But that's part of the reason I hired Alex from our mastermind to do my Google Ads campaigns, so that she can run them for semantic links, generate leads for my link building business. Right now, I had hired or joined the closers.io program, which was stupid expensive. It was a huge investment. But they're supposed to be placing a full-time commissioned salesperson into my agency, and they're going to start with semantic links, doing sales calls for semantic links. But in order for me to have them place the salesperson, we have to have consistently 10 sales calls per week, 10 sales calls or more booked per week. And I don't have that. My lead flow for semantic links on average is about 4 sales calls per week. And some weeks I'll have 7, 8, 9 sales calls, but on average it's 4. And so I need to have, and we're just doing cold email outreach from an appointment setting company. And so that's why I need an ads campaign to start generating some more leads. So if we get enough sales calls booked regularly, then I can have that salesperson placed. And then that's going to free up a minimum, as I just said, 4 hours per week. Because if I'm doing an average of 4 calls per week and they're an hour per call, that's 4 hours a week. So anyway, I just bring that up because I'm hired her to help set up the campaigns to run and manage that, because I've been focused more on local lead gen side of Google Ads. But once she gets the semantic links campaign up and running, I'm probably going to have her go in and help me manage a couple local campaigns as well, so that I can see how they set it up, an agency does, and learn from that. Because I've been trying to flounder through Google Ads on my own for the last several weeks, and I've had very hit or miss campaign success. Like in some cases in Louisville, I've had some really good success generating tree service leads and made it profitable. But in other areas, and I got a roofing client that I mean, it just I'm losing money hand over fist trying to generate leads for him. It's his budget, but it's just not working out. So I don't have enough experience, Sean, that's why I'm not doing any training on Google Ads other than what I'm comfortable with, which are like branding campaigns with YouTube ads and such, because I don't feel confident enough in my own abilities to teach on that yet. But I'm hoping that in the next few weeks, couple of months maybe, after working with Alex for a few months, that I'll have a much better grasp on ads. And at that point, I will do some training on it. Okay, but not until I'm more comfortable and more proficient with it. Let's see. James says, thanks for the info, Brad. I'll keep you posted on the G Sheet address strategy. Awesome, James. Yeah, please do. I'm curious how that works. And also, I think it's a sound strategy. So definitely keep me posted. I'd like to know. Hi, Cecilia. That's all right. We'll forgive you. Am I streaming next week, David? You mean for Hump Day Hangouts? I plan on it. Yeah, I'll be here. I'll be here for sure.
Sure thing. You can't miss this.
Jim Wells, what's up, jerks? Yeah, that's awesome. What's up, Jim? Late to the show. I was listening to SEO Jesus's interview of James Dooley. Okay. Sweet. All right, guys, that's it. Let's wrap it up. I appreciate you all. We will see you guys next week. Have a Merry Christmas. For those of you that celebrate Christmas, for those of you that don't, well, happy holidays anyway. We do
Happy
have a
holidays.
mastermind webinar. We do have a mastermind webinar tomorrow, guys. So be there if you can. Otherwise, we'll see you all next week. Have a happy Merry Christmas.
Bye, everyone.